I did a complete brand new upgrade to the software, and it seemed to work fine. So we're going to do a trap trade, just like you see on the DMM. The breakout does not work anymore on this trade at all. Has not been working at all. I would not trade the breakout. Let me just make sure I'm streaming. If anybody's on YouTube, you could tell me if you can see us streaming. Uh, I believe we are. Thank goodness for that. Okay, good. Looks like we're streaming, so I want to welcome everyone that's watching us. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. All one of you. So, I think people are mad at me because I didn't stream the other day. Okay, and it wasn't my fault. So the DMM, it was canceled last time. So let me explain the trade rather quickly. Chicago PMI is a 9:45 event to the public. The public thinks it takes place at 9:45. We know it doesn't. We know it takes place at 9:42. We've been trading it at 9:42 for about 2 years. Well, we discovered in our testing that there's a second possible trade at 9:45, but that trade at 9:45, it doesn't really work well. The trade is 9:42, or it should not be traded. All right. So for a minute when we were testing, we thought that maybe if you didn't get filled at 9:42, you could just wait until 9:45 and everything would be fine. That's not the case. If we don't get properly filled, we're going to cancel and not trade. It's a 9:42 trade. That's generally when the market will respond to this news. So I'm going to right click the chart, click trap trade. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. That just means one contract for each position. 9:41:55 is our trigger time. Okay? 9:41:55. Now, I do think that this trade is riskier than the PCE price trade, even though it just is because of time of day. Time of day this close to the market open makes for a little bit extra volatility just in the instruments that you're trading. So that adds risk to the trade. So keep that in mind, please. All right. So 9:41:55. The tiers we're going to use 12. I'm using 12 and 20. Right now my stop's 20, but I reserve the right to make it a tiny bit bigger during the trade if I feel like I need to. I'm going to label it GC Trap, and I'm definitely trading it for real, and I'll triple check. Okay, I made my notes. I'll trade it in the right account. That PCE trade was phenomenal. It was a great trade. $941.55 on the trigger, 20 on the stop, 12 and 20 on the tiers. And if you want to be a little bit safer, you could do 12 and 22 on the tiers. All right. Apply it and okay it. Make sure your chart is on the same account that you're trading. And then I'll make sure that I'm not in the wrong account. My wrong account was number 7. I can't believe they haven't shut that account down. Now, this is the only instrument we have traded on this report for a long time. For a while, it was a breakout. And I know what it says on the DMM. It's had a few trades that have worked, but overall, it's been much better as a trap. It's been reversing and whipping, and it's been very difficult as a breakout trade. All right. Anybody have any questions about the setup? Make sure when you trade a trap trade that your chart is wide enough. That's what I mean when I say wide enough, so that when you enable the trade, you see all the buttons at the top that make up the buttons in the trap trade. The break even button. That's a button that if you're in a profit and you press that button, it'll move your stop to break even plus 1 tick. There's a feature in the software that no one knows. Click strategies, highlight the trade you're trading. That means you have to turn off the enabled button. You didn't know you could enable the software from inside the software. You notice I never do that. I never do it because you want to enable it from the control panel. So if something's wrong in your setup, you have time to check. That's why I never enable it from inside the software. In the old days, that's a throwback to our old days. That was the way we used to enable, but no longer. Talking about that break even button. The stop, the break even button is programmed. It's programmable. If you use this particular feature in the software, let me see if it may not be in the trap trade, so let me look. You know what? No, it's not in the trap trade, so forget it for now, but I'll tell you what it is. In the trap trade, it's always a break even plus 1 if you use it. In a breakout trade, the break even button is programmable in the sense that, remember the feature, if the market moves X ticks, move the stop to break even plus 5? Well, that item, move the stop to break even plus X ticks, if you make that a 5, then the break even button will move the stop to break even plus 5. If you make it a -5, it'll move it to break even minus 5 ticks. It's a pretty cool feature that lets you program the break even button. All right, let me show you. I don't remember what happened last month. Let's take a look. The market's going to open at 9:30. All right, here we go. This is November. This is a video in a video. Let's see what happened in November. Video in a video. Testing the gold breakout on the right. Pretty small move in November. It filled. Maybe hit the first target. I don't know what happened to that video. That's strange. It just kind of stopped in that, so I can't show it. It's not, didn't finish. All right, we were looking at last month. Here's last month. So it looks like it didn't move enough to fill us. And that'll happen sometimes. Sometimes you just won't get a fill, and it's perfectly okay. We talk about it all the time. So I was just checking a note. Langford, who always has really, really helpful information, said he checked a bunch of instruments on PCE price, and a lot of instruments were really good breakouts. So it's fascinating how gold was such a good trap and many instruments moved in one direction. Last month, looks like we had a no fill. And then at 9:45, I would not take a second trade. Had you taken the second trade in January, it looks like it would have been a stop. But I'm not going to take second trades because our testing showed they're not worth taking. January was the only month there was a lot of extra movement at 9:45. Okay? So we don't let 1 month, an anomaly, we don't let 1 month determine what our setups are going to be. You have to have a minimum. You have to have phenomenal testing on a minimum of two. Phenomenal. And you have to have real good testing on three or more to get a setup. That's the philosophy that we use in these markets. The philosophy is, looks like this would have been a very tradable open. Remember what I said yesterday about inconsistent opens. When you get an open in one direction, they're great, but they don't always give you a one direction open. But what I like are potential magnets. Now, maybe it's not going to work. You'd want to get filled right about here. You might have been filled for the magnet. So I'm curious to see if the ES does test the low. If it tests the low, then my idea of trading a magnet around the open would have worked. Gold, it might have just barely missed, but it did the magnet too soon before I would not have taken this magnet. And the ES was so close, you probably could have gotten out with a profit. And you wouldn't be stopped out anyway. So it looks like it's going to test the low and work anyway. I'm not obsessed with magnets. They're just very good to trade. I'm seriously thinking about creating a whole new service. I'm not going to tell you what I'd name it because I don't want to give it away. But magnets are really good for prop accounts. I mean, it's a perfect way to trade them. They're consistent. Um, you're not going to have problems getting paid when you ask to get paid because you're going to be consistent. So there are quite a few people out there that are trading them. I get emails. I get the emails. And what I want to do is make the VWAP magnet as easy to set up as the high of day, low of day magnet. Right now, if we want to set up a VWAP magnet, you have to do it as custom level, and it's just a little more work. So the way you do it, the easiest way, is set up a custom level and then make the custom level the level that you want to exit at. Okay, that's your exit. So 2872.60. And the reason I say use that level because it's easy. It's easy. And then I like to have 10 to 12 ticks as my profit. Okay? 10 to 12 tick profit. Let's say I'm just trading one position. All right? So I would then make, as long as position size 2 is a 0, you don't have to worry about target 2. All right? So I've got one position, 12 ticks. Watch what happens when we enable the VWAP custom magnet. Apply it, okay it, enable it. You get your magnet entry at your exit. So we added move the entry so you can move the lines, makes it real easy. Just move the lines. If you chose 13 ticks, the one thing you have to do is calculate your target. I want to automate that. All right, I'm going to automate that. I don't want us to have to calculate anything. All right, but our magnet was the level, the custom level. Always use your magnet as the custom level because it's easy. Then you don't have to shop around. You have to figure out what the Fibonacci is. If you're using fibs, it's much easier than doing anything else. Then when you activate the magnet, all you have to do is move your order prior to getting to the magnet. Now we're under the magnet price, so this is going to be a long, okay? But if you want to be safe in the custom level particularly, turn off your short trade, all right? But that's how easy it is to create a custom level magnet. It's easy. It's easy. Magnets are easy. The reason I like the VWAP, oh, they get tested all day long. Tested. 7 o'clock it tested. I wouldn't have taken the 7:30 and there wasn't enough profit. But if you go through an average day on every instrument, you'll just see that they go around the VWAP multiple times. And it's a great setup to trade. The ES, we're looking at the ES magnet at 8:30, right? And you could see it was going to happen. It did it again. It got 3 ticks. As close as 3 ticks is a test. Some days it'll just trade all around the VWAP. Okay? So you can do it with any level that you like to trade. Any level you like to trade. You know, it's just like traps. Obviously, not every trap works, and that's fine. Not every magnet's going to work, but there's no reason not to be trading them. Why would you not trade a strategy that we show over and over it can work? It definitely works more than it doesn't. All you have to do is, if you don't believe me, just look at your favorite chart. Take the favorite instrument you like to trade and just look at the VWAP price movement and look at the high of day, low of day price movement on that instrument. And you'll realize why you want to be trading magnets. You want to catch some of those moves. All right. So we only have 2 minutes. So let's see if we get a nice trap here. Gold's been pretty negative, pretty strongly selling off. It could ruin the trade. It could ruin the trade. I hope not. I don't need the magnet right now. So right now the markets are, they're down a little. The ES, it's only down 12 ticks. All right. So we're waiting. We only have 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Why did my webcam disappear? Oh, it didn't. There it is. Okay. So make sure that your charts are spread wide enough, right? Make sure you can see your combine button. That tells you your chart is at the right width. Our orders should show up right now. There's our orders. Okay. Got a pop. It filled both. I want to get my stop to safety as soon as possible. It's a 20 stop. Okay. It's a 20 stop. I think we're going to get a change in direction. Shrinking the target to the low of the old low. I'm definitely concerned about this behavior, but I believe this trade is going to change direction. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. That's as far down as I'm willing to move. I'm not willing to go any further. So it looks difficult. Looks difficult. Now I would combine my orders. I'd combine my orders. All right. We need that change. We need that change. Let's go. Push up. I probably wouldn't be too greedy here. All right. Shrinking my stop a little. I'm wiggling my stop a little bit because there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of downward pressure on gold. Chicago PMI, it's just a little bit positive. What we're dealing with is a very negative trend on gold, and that might kill the trade. So I would probably exit with a small profit if I get it. Okay, if I get it, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to wait around very long for much of a profit. If gold will go a little bit positive here, I'll take it. Now, one thing working in our favor is it made a whole bunch of new lows. I was just getting ready to move my target further away. That's why people get scared of trap trades, though. That was a scary trap trade, but I was just getting ready to make a bigger target. Now, maybe I was wrong based on the movement now, but but if you just was as patient as I was, at least you could have had $100. But the pressure of gold is what worked against us. We said it might. We said it might. It was not a big disaster. And you had to move your stop the way that I did. Remember what I said before we started trading? That I was going to make the stop a little bigger because it was only 20. I like to have at least a 25 stop on gold. And look, it's pretty rare that it comes back down now again and makes another new low. It should have really, look, it should have continued this upward move. This is unusual behavior based on huge push down. Hopefully, you mimicked what I did if you traded it. Okay. Yep. So, Nitin, you didn't move things fast enough, it sounds like. Yep. It sounds like. Just trade one contract or trade micros if you're going to trade. Um, Maybe your first couple of magnets trap trades should be micros. But I mean, already you've done two today, so you're in. You're in. I mean, you're. I think you're even from your two trades. It's a shame that you gave some of it back. That was not easy to trade. We'll watch the video. You got to be willing to take the loss. I was willing to take the loss by moving the stop bigger. But now look, gold, this is what gold does when it hits new lows. It's now going to probably push off the low for a while. This is the move I was hoping to get that we didn't quite get. I didn't quite get it. Let's see if it goes even higher. Let's see if it goes even higher. I was expecting it to go higher than it did. But my stop was in a place of safety. I'm pretty sure we'll look at the video. But honestly speaking, that was a difficult trap to manage. That was difficult to manage. So it only went a tiny bit higher than I thought it was going to go. Okay. Nowhere near what I thought it would do. And definitely caused caused from the pressure. Hey folks, let me put this on hold. I have to take this call. I'll be right back. Hello? Hi. Yeah. Okay. 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 Right. Why don't I would think we do the 180 and they'll owe me and then they'll get them back in at least. Or you could mix with the fives. That might be the easiest thing to do. It's too many. Right. But would he do the 180? Okay. Yeah, that's three. Yeah, yep, yep. That's the easiest. Yeah, yeah, that's the easiest because that's almost the whole month. That's almost the whole month. And they'll what they'll do is they'll put in an O. Or the other thing I was thinking is you could do 180 and then it's not that many fives to make up the difference. In other words, you do two prescriptions. But if that's a pain in the ass because you already have Dr. Walker's and you're just sending it in, um, I would just send it in as the 180. Yeah, because that makes your life easier, and then I can deal with it. At least I can deal with that. I don't have to worry. Yeah, and also maybe I'll have a pharmacy that I can count on. I don't really like CVS honestly, but if they'll get them in for me, and the pharmacy will work with me, then I won't deal with cats anymore because they didn't even let me know. I've been a customer for 20 years. They should have called me. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace what they did. Right. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and I guess you have all my stuff to send there, right? So everything's gonna. Okay. Okay. So let's do that, and then I'll deal with them. And if I have a problem, I'll talk to Dr. Walker. I'll talk to you in a few weeks because it won't be a problem. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay. Bye. Okay, testing one, two. Let me know you can still hear me, please. I do apologize. I do apologize. Can you hear me? So Scott, the only reason I was willing to take the shot of moving the stop down, and you could see that it may not have been the smartest thing to do. It's the way that I watch gold behave. It wasn't so much, it was a little bit the news. I saw that the news, frankly, the news was a little bit too positive, and I think that hurt us. My initial look at the news, I didn't read it carefully, and very honestly, I thought it was less positive than what it was. So I was thinking the news wasn't quite as negative in terms of pushing gold down. More importantly, to answer that question, the way that gold reacts so often when it hits new lows, eventually it just stops making new lows and it does that big green candle up that it did. I think because of a combination of such a negative day on gold, over $40 negative, and the news being positive, that made it not work as well as I thought it would. And that's why I think if you didn't get out when I did, you might have had the same problem Nitin had, which was moving the stop fast enough. I knew my stop was a few ticks smaller than I wanted to make it, so I knew I was willing to increase it a little bit. But, there was significant risk on doing it because the news was a little better than I actually thought. I got lucky because I didn't pay attention as well. I might not have been willing to move the stop much. But just the way, watch what happens now. I think gold's going to stop putting in lows. It's not going to keep putting in lows. And then it often has a really big change of direction. So, and I don't mind staying in a trap trade for 7 or 8 minutes anymore. Years ago, I wouldn't even consider doing that, but we see over and over that sometimes if we stay in a trap trade significantly longer, it can add to your profits. So I'm not trying to get stopped out as fast on the trap trades as I used to do. But it was really a balancing act and it was a little bit complicated. Let's look at the video because I think that'll show us better. Let me render the video. But I don't think it was an easy one. The PCE was a gift. This was a very hard trade to manage. All right, let me show you the video. All right, so we know that Chicago PMI, first thing that's important, we know that it comes out at 9:42. All right, that's when the news affects the market. So I knew my stop was a little bit shy of where I wanted it to be. Gold was making new lows at the time of the news, which I thought would be a benefit because it can't keep, and the original move was perfect, but you couldn't get out fast enough. If you would have hit the close button, you might have made $40. It's why I don't like to hit close. It didn't stay in profit long enough. Now the market knows what the news is, and I moved my stop because I saw that gold was making lows and I just felt it was worth the risk. I really thought it would reverse. And here's where Nitin probably got hit. That's my guess. He probably got hit somewhere around there. And I was just willing to lose extra money to see if I could survive it. It was really probably a little bit too much risk, to be honest. It was a little bit too much risk. That's being fully honest. But I know this report does not move in one direction these days. It's just not been doing that. But we were fighting the gold trend. There's no denying it. So managing your exit, the reason you want to hit the combine button, you don't want to be fumbling around with two orders when you're struggling to get out, right? Of a trade that isn't going your way. The combine button honestly was designed for a trade that isn't going your way. All right. All right, folks. I'm going to have to go. I have a problem that I just have to take care of. I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Hang on one second. Everybody has an awesome weekend. And this was a tough. I'm going to leave the video on without audio for a minute. Hello? Uh, no. No. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. Right. Do they charge for that? Okay. And then you don't have to share it if it's bad news. I have to share it. Right. I thought you thought it was not working properly. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Right. That'll end it. That'll end it. Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's weird. You never know. You never know. Right. 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 Wait, which one is he? Oh, right.